gosh, this movie is so beautifully haunting and it really snuck up on me. I thought I was like okay watching it and then that
And then you weren't.
I was really cocky. And then at night I was just lying in bed and the visions just began and it's just so beautifully done. So I'm so excited to chat with you about it today.
Thank
Um
you. I'm so happy to hear that. I mean, I'm sorry. So happy that it worked.
No, it's good. It's good. Um, oh my gosh, Eva, your character, she is in a very unconventional position of power, for the time. She's in charge of this fishing station and its men, but she's also a woman in 19th century Iceland, and her decisions are not taken lightly, to say the least. There's a really powerful, quiet strength to her that you carry so beautifully. And we see the weight that she carries. Can you just talk about that weight and how, kind of playing around with it and its heaviness
Mm,
as her choices and her decisions start to be kind of questioned and tested?
yeah, sure. Um, you're absolutely right. I think that the character is she is unconventional. She is in an unconventional spot. I mean, she's been left this legacy, this thing that she never in her life could have imagined taking over. Because obviously you don't prepare for your husband to leave you with this thing before his time. So she starts on in this very um, this kind of very serious uh position. And I think that she in order to kind of honor her grief, has to really lean into this responsibility, and she has to really take it very seriously. And that's kind of, yeah, where we meet her. This is what she's going through. I think she doesn't want anyone else to die, and I think that she understands that the fishing station itself is in these kind of dire straits, and they don't have enough food, and they're not bringing in enough catch, and it's been a really tough winter. And there's all of this stuff happening, and she's just like willing herself to make it work. And that's why she makes the decisions that she makes. But it's interesting. It's like her you can see in Eva's costume. um all of these men have these sealskin jackets, right? They're like kind of properly padded and against the elements. And women in Iceland didn't wear coats in the 1860s because they just weren't supposed to go outside. And so it's this little clue of like, this person who is so culturally ill-equipped for this position is thrust into this this position of decision making that she needs to figure out from scratch.
Oh, it's so true. And it's like before the trouble even starts, we see that how much, I mean, it's just a testament to your performance. And I think you're so brilliant at saying so much without saying anything. Um, you're always so nuanced in your approach, but you can see that balance of being so already needing to have this very quiet strength and knowing that she cannot come across as weak, but you also allow her to be, it's like you're not shying away from her femininity, but you're also reserving her in a sense. And you can see that inner struggle
Right.
before the trouble starts, like I said, which is like,
I mean, I think so much of that, and like thank you for that very kind observation. So much of that is just defined by like the difficulty of living in that environment. It's like they don't have enough food. Like she simply cannot expend too much energy because she doesn't have any way to, you know, stock up again. She doesn't have any way to fuel herself. So I think that that's that kind of like, at least that's what I was working with in my mind doing all of this, is like, if you have, 3 units of energy to spend, and like all of this horrible shit is happening, excuse my language. Have to be very economic about how you deal with things, how you react to things. And I think for me, that was really fun to play with. That was a really interesting limitation because, it's like you think of a horror film with this big scary monster, and you think of like all of the ways in which people run away from the big scary monster and like express their fear. But even that expression is costs too much at a time like that.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. It's when the horrors do sort of ensue, like the way that she reacts, it's so stoic almost. And I feel like now, oh, I'm really excited to watch it again with that, with the what you said is so interesting about how she has like the three kind of sources of energy that she's allowed to use, and like how her reactions to kind of the horrors play into that. That's so fascinating. Um, I also loved this choice. I just have to point it out because it was so brilliant. Was when I think it's Daniel cuts open one of the dead seaman's stomach, and all of the men have this very physical. They have these very physical reactions to it, and Eva is just your reaction's all in the eyes, and you don't even react like you don't cough, you don't cover your nose. Can you just talk about that? Because I thought it was just, it felt very intentional and very telling and just very powerful, and ways that you implement it kind of this reserve of energy and this in this kind of quiet strength was amazing.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, I remember shooting that, and there is obviously like the instinctive version, which is to retch and throw up, and this like horrible things happen. But excuse me, the way that I wanted, the way that I felt Eva, in kind of internalizing a situation like that, an event like that, there's like a couple of things that are going on. There's the fact that she has to project strength for these people, because if she doesn't, then no one can. You know what I mean? She is their leader. She has to keep the ship sailing, so to speak. Um, she also has seen, at this point, she's seen worse. It's like she's seen the most horrific act of violence that anybody could ever see, probably, and right directly in front of her eyes, perpetrated to somebody who was trying to hurt her. She's seen it up close and personal. She has seen worse.
Hmm.
As far as she understands in this moment, this is a corpse. This is a dead body. This is not a living thing. This is I think that she and the other thing is, it's like it's actually at that temperature, cold air
Mm.
outside kind of like numbs your senses a little. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like it might smell bad, but she's standing up. She's too far away to smell it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
there's a few things that I felt kind of like informed that moment specifically.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your interpretation of it. It's interesting to hear kind of how that comes across.
Right. Yeah. I mean that we could talk about also the really powerful theme. I mean, horror is such an amazing genre to be able to hold a mirror up to society and really dissect the human condition and really question ourselves and others. And like another important theme to note before my time is up, but is this kind of fear around helping others and how we can kind of mistake or excuse not helping others as protecting ourselves. And like there's then the complexities around that.
Yes.
Um, and how powerful, because that's just what I love. There is no, the monster is kind of, it's so allegorical in this film, and we don't ever blame Eva for her decisions. If anything, we empathize with her decisions because we understand the weight of them and the complexity of them. If you'd like to just touch upon that really quickly, but sorry.
Oh, no, no, it's I'll try to
Sorry though.
That's right. No, I wanna answer this question. It's a great question, or it's a great observation. I think that that was a huge part of why I wanted to do this film. The first conversation Thor and I ever had, I told him I interpreted the film as a political thriller.
Mhm.
It's the decision making is not even necessarily about whether it's right or wrong. It's about how you convince other people that it's right or wrong.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
about how you feel it is. I think that that's the thing about Eva, is that she's not even aware enough of how she feels about what's happened. She's
Mhm.
only aware of her position of power and how it's her responsibility to project something. Um, and I think that that's, yeah, it's interesting to look at a character study like that at a time like this, because obviously Eva is just one in a million of people doing those things and acting out of fear, and the fear of eschewing responsibility. And yeah, I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what Eva should have done.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
know if she did exactly what she should have done. I don't know if there was another way to do it, but obviously, as you find out, the the shipwrecked crew had
Mhm.
a lot of provisions. They had a lot to offer.
Mhm.
Might have saved everybody's lives. So,
Yeah.
who
Ugh,
knows? Do you take that risk? Who knows?
exactly. So complex and it's yeah, I agree. I love what you just said about it being kind of a political like horror because that's exactly how I felt. I felt, wow, it's just it feels so timely and relevant and but anyways, beautiful performance. I have to say too, I just want to throw one more compliment your way is that you are so amazing at evoking the past. So naturally just throughout your work and this was another beautiful example of that. So just thank you. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate that. Thank you, Meg.